The Colt Patterson 1836 revolver. Well, I mentioned it the other day in a video. Stumbled into a local gun show today and was looking for a buddy of mine, and I found him. And lo and behold, what he had on his table is this example here of a Colt Patterson made by Pietta. Even had the loading tool. And this one is a little unusual. It's engraved. Pietta does that with laser engraving. And I really don't think this is not a nickel finish. What I think they do is polish. Instead of bluing it, it's polished. He said it's stainless steel. I doubt this is a stainless steel gun. I'm not quite sure. I tried looking it up on their website, but it's some sort of limited edition, and there's no info out there on it. But it is marked. Try to get it to focus here. Oh, come on. Texas Patterson. Yes, Texas Patterson, caliber 36. So it's 36 cal. The gun was used. It didn't have a box or nothing with it. I brought it home and checked it out, and it was weird. I don't believe the person fired this, but they did work this action an awful lot. And you can see there's some wear on it. But it has the loading tool with it, which is a plus. Look at it from the other side. I'm sorry, we'll do a top view. It's pretty neatly engraved. There's the scroll on there. Now you can see it. You can see a little bit of wear. Somebody worked this action. The engraving goes down to there like that. Actually, it's a pretty wild looking gun. So I had to get it. Couldn't escape. Actually, I was looking for something else he had, but it wasn't there. He sold it. So I had to pick this up. Fits right into my little program here. And the strange thing about these pistols is they're actually the repros are actually difficult to find and are becoming a collector's item themselves with the loading tools. I believe they're no longer made. Let me grab a seat. We'll take a look at this gun while I handle it. Alright, so everybody's question is, what's the big deal about this gun? What this gun's claim to fame is, it was the first commercially repeating firearm employing a revolving cylinder with multiple chambers aligned with a single stationary barrel. Its design was patented by Samuel Colt, February 25th, 1836. So this was the first commercially produced revolver made. And it's got Sam Colt's name started, and he went after this company failed that produced this particular gun. But he went on. What these are, I believe what this really is a number 5 belt revolver. These were made in 28, 31. This one is 36, the later models. This was like a number 5. And I believe that's what, when I told you in the video about the Walker, these Texas, this design here without, and the later ones did have a loading lever. But these were the ones the Texas Navy got, or they got in Texas, and that's the Republic of Texas. Okay, not to be confused with the state of Texas, the Republic of Texas. Okay, and then these were used by the Texas Rangers. They took a bunch of these and used these in a couple successful battles. The Battle of Bandera Pass, where they held off a force of Comanches with these guns. And even though Colt's company went under that made these, they approached him, and that's when he started another company and developed the Walker, which is a huge pistol compared to this. So, thing about these replicas, they were made for a while. Different companies made them, and now they've stopped production of them. So everybody wants to get in, cowboy action or whatever. If you just want to shoot or own an example of the first commercial revolver made in the U.S. by Colt, if you're a Colt fan, and this is a gun that's a must-have. But the fact they're no longer made, and there is a demand for them, these replicas are collectible and hard to find. Now this gun here, I got it, somebody did play with this, and when I got it home I took this thing completely apart, which is a nightmare in itself, because the one problem I'm having is you see where the trigger's hidden. When you cock the gun, the trigger drops down. Okay, then the gun would fire. But I was just having trouble getting the trigger to get back up there and stay hidden in there. And I took it apart and cleaned it. And I believe this had a rough action, and somebody went and packed grease down inside the whole action. Was all this grease jammed in there, dried and packed in there. So I took her apart and cleaned it. And from what I could tell, somebody has cycled this action a million times, had trouble beating the wedge out, which is tough. The wedge is hard to get out of these things. But when I cleaned the bore, I believe the person never fired it, because like when I run a brush and a solvent through it, you could see all this, because you couldn't really see the rifling well defined. Well, that heavy coating of oil they put in was probably still in there and just dried up in there. I had to wipe it out. It hasn't been fired. It wasn't black powder residue. But this gun's design is a lot different than the later Colts. It's very primitive, very fragile, and it's highly unusual. You have to take the gun apart to load it with the tool, and we'll see that when I go and take this out and shoot it. But a lot of little springs, and see now this thing don't want to stay up in there. There it goes. But another thing you can watch, if you do this quick, see it throws it off. I don't know if this is just how these guns are. Now the timing's pretty good, and if you cycle this deliberately, and this is tough, it locks up at times, but if you yank it, it'll over-index. And it's kind of strange, I don't want to take this apart, how this works. The hand goes up and hits inside this, hits like a revolving thing where there's a notch that's on the face of this inside the frame, and the hand is actually inside this, pushing this mechanism that's locked into a notch on the cylinder, and that's how this revolves. It's pretty wild. And the frame comes apart in two pieces, or actually three. This unit here, this part of the frame and the rod come out with two screws from the bottom. Then after you remove the back strap, and taking the mainspring out of this is a nightmare. It takes two people. And I doubt I'll do a disassembly video on this gun, because it is, I was lucky I got it all back together, got it working, cleaned it out, cleaned all the grease and weird stuff that was caked in there. But it's a pretty neat gun. Now I got it in my timeline, in my collection of revolvers and development of military history. This is a military weapon. It was used by the Rangers, and the U.S. military, I believe, had some of them. I don't know if the revolvers. I knew the rifles and that were used by the military. But there you have it. The Texas Patterson 36 caliber engraved, I guess limited edition pistol from Pietta. And hopefully, the weather has been bad. Hopefully we will get out and shoot this. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. All right, guys, stay tuned.